everyone, and welcome. This practice focuses on strengthening, stabilizing, and activating the lower body to help really steady and ground our whole energy system. This practice is also great if you aren't able to do a whole lot of weight bearing or challenging work with your shoulders or wrists, since we'll be doing most of our work focused on the lower body. So let's begin. Come on to hands and knees. And we'll simply start with some cat and cow. So we actually come up onto our fingertips. So come up onto some nice tented fingertips. And when you're ready, take a big breath in, let your belly soften down, and gather your shoulders back. And with your exhale, round your spine, gathering your front body up to your back body. We'll do a few more rounds of that. Inhaling, letting your spine arch, and exhaling, letting your spine round. Keep that going, breathing steady, starting to connect your breath to your movement, your breath to your body, and starting to turn your attention and your focus inwards to your practice. So that nice steady inward direction of your focus. Feeling your breath, feeling your body. Good. Now coming back to your neutral spine, and we're going to hug our inner knees together and tuck all 10 toes underneath. So hug your inner ankles together. Your inner ankle bones should be touching. You can even use your hands to help encourage your pinky toes to tuck underneath as well. Coming into a nice foot stretch or toe stretch. So simply ease your weight back, your hips back to rest on top of your heels. Sit up nice and easy, nice and tall, and let your shoulders release. Now this might be like really super intense for some of you, maybe not so intense for others of you. So just find your breath here. We're not going to be here for too long. Starting to wake up our feet. Wake up the energy in our feet. Our feet being the foundation, our connection to the ground, our connection to the earth. One more deep inhale, clearing. Exhale. And then slowly release. Come back to your hands and your knees. Untuck your toes, and you can take like a little sort of tapping motion just to release that toe stretch if you'd like. Now from here, just tuck your toes again and shift your weight back. We're going to walk towards our feet, coming towards our forward folds at the back of our mat. Feet are hip width apart. Spread out your toes that we just kind of woke up there with that stretch. Bend your knees a little bit or a lot if you need to, or if that feels more comfortable. And then just hang out here for a breath or two in our forward fold, letting your arms and your shoulders dangle, letting your head empty out, your neck release any tension in your neck or in your spine. Allow it to tumble and melt off of you down towards the ground. Now from here, we're going to bend our knees even more. And from your tailbone, slowly start to roll up to stand. So you're sequencing up through your vertebra, up through your spine. Allow your head to be heavy and feel all of your weight pouring down into your feet as you roll all the way up to stand. Once you're standing, you can either bring hands to prayer or hands onto your hips. And we're going to press up onto the metatarsal of your right foot. So you're pressing your heel up as high as you can. Take an inhale breath. And then with your exhale, take a nice slow pedal and switch. So you're lowering your right heel and pressing up nice and high with your left heel. And then again, with your next breath out, take a pedal and a switch. And then one more time, pedal and switch. And then lower your left heel down onto the ground, stand nice and tall, and slowly press up, rising up with both heels, and try to spread out your pinky toes. Press your pinky toes into the ground and lift up through both sides of your ankles like little stirrups. And then slowly squish your heels back down onto the ground. And we're going to do that again. So rising up,
Lifting your heels up as high as you can. Pinky toes spread out. Press your pinky toes into the ground. And if you're feeling wobbly, that's normal. That's natural. That's why we're doing this. Do your best. Keep breathing. Slowly squish your heels back down. One more time. I know it's not like a big, glamorous, exciting thing to do, but this can really help the strength of our feet, the health of our feet, and our connection to the stability and the steadiness of the ground. So rising up, press those pinky toes into the ground, and then slowly squish, like you're squishing grapes. Press your heels back down into the floor. Good. And we're done with that. Inhale, sweep your arms wide and high. And exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Inhale. Walk your feet out mat width apart. Turn your toes slightly out, your heels slightly in, and sink on down into yogi squat. Nice and soft, releasing down into the pelvis. Breathe in. And then exhale. Walk your hands all the way out into plank pose. Inhale into your plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Let your head release towards the ground in downward dog. Now from down dog, we'll sweep right leg high, three-legged dog. Stretch that right leg up and back, breathe in. Step right foot forwards between your hands on your breath out, and let's soften back knee to the floor. Sweep your arms high, crescent lunge. And now take your right arm and reach your right fingertips down towards the ground on the outside of your right hip. You're not actually going to touch the ground, but you're taking a reach and you're stretching up and over with that left arm. So it's a side body stretch, side body length. Inhale a full sweet breath. And then with your exhale, take a slow curve all the way down over top of your right leg. Sweep your left hand way out towards the left side. And take your right arm and stretch that right bicep long in line with your right ear. Take a little hug of your right shoulder back. Inhale. And then exhale, sweep back through center, and we'll step to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Breathe in, rise to stand. Take that nice full stretch and sweep of your arms wide and high. And exhale, we'll sit back into chair pose. So really pulling the weight of your hips back towards that back edge of your mat. Now take a look down, really important here. We want to have our thigh bones and our knees in line with our middle toes. So really being mindful of that tracking, thigh bones, knees, middle toes, and your bum is reaching way back behind you. Now we're going to take some little pulses here in our chair pose. So inhale, press with your heels, lift up a couple inches, and then exhale, maintaining that nice tracking, sink back and down a little bit deeper with your hips. We'll do that a few more times. Inhale, little lift, really press into the ground with your heels, and exhale, little sink. Again, breathe in, press with the heels, slight lift, and exhale, little sink. Good. Now breathe in. One more little lift, one more little press. And then let it go. Forward fold. Half lift, breathing in, long spine. Right foot steps back, lower your knee to the ground with your exhale. Sweep up to crescent lunge. Big full breath. And then exhale, hands to the ground, and step back to child's pose. Close to the earth, close to the ground. Peek forwards. We're going to slither and pull ourselves out onto our bellies. Fingertips tent wide, kind of out slightly off your mat, about shoulder height. With your inhale, peel your shoulders up off the ground, rising up into a fingertip cobra. And then exhale, ripple your way back down to the ground. We'll do that one more time. Breathe in, shoulders hug back. Gather yourself up and off of the ground, and exhale, softly ripple, melt back down to the floor. Bring your hands in by your lower ribs now. Tuck your toes. Now you can skip this out altogether if you'd like, if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to press from our belly here right up into a plank pose, maybe supported plank, knees on the ground if you'd like instead. So I want you to secure your core, your belly. Try to lift your navel up off the ground. Hug your shoulders back. Take an inhale breath. And then with your exhale, try to slowly press up off of the ground in one piece to your plank pose. From there, downward facing dog. Walk your hands towards your feet, coming to the back of your mat. Bend your knees deeply and roll up through your spine. Bone by bone by bone, come all the way up to stand. Inhale, arms sweep high. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Inhale, walk your feet out, mat width apart, yogi squat, toes turn out, heels turn in, and soften down through the hips. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Now hands reach down, crawl yourself back out to your plank pose. Breathe in, shift hips up and back, downward dog, and breathe out. Left leg rises to three-legged dog. Take your inhale to extend and stretch and stamp back through left foot. Let your exhale, step left foot forwards, and then soften that back knee to the ground. Come on up to your crescent lunge. Arms reach high, and then drop your left fingertips down towards the ground on the outside of your left hip. Coming into that side stretch, so big full reach up and over with your right arm, reaching up and over with right fingertips. Steady full inhale, and then take that nice slow exhale to curl down over your front leg. Sweep your right hand way out to the right side, and then take your left arm long in line with your left ear. So left bicep in line with left ear. Reach, extend, inhale breath, and then exhale, sweep through center and step to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathing in, forward fold, breathing out. From the soles of your feet, rise up to stand. Use your inhale to reach tall and into chair pose right away with your exhale. So again, let's take a look down. Thigh bones are hip width apart. Knees are tracking over your middle toes, not knocking inwards or outwards. You can have your arms long in line with ears or just hands to prayer if that helps you here focus a little bit more. So same idea here, but now we're going to shift over our weight into our left foot. Hover our right foot off the ground and just extend, kick that right foot out in front of you. Now really important here that that left knee doesn't start to knock inwards, so keep that tracking knee and thigh bone over those middle toes. Now 3 little pulses, so pull your weight way back into your hips, way back into that left heel, sink down a little bit, and then press with your heel and lift up slightly. And 2 more times, sink back slightly, back and down, and lift up. And there's a lot of work going on, a lot of effort, so breathe with that effort. 1 more time, sink down, and slight lift. Now place your right foot down into that chair pose. Shift your weight over into your right leg now, switching sides, hover left foot, and kick that left heel forwards. Tracking thigh bone and knee over the middle toes. Pull your bum back, your hips back. Sink down a little deeper. Weight into that right heel, and then slight little lift. Really press, heel into the ground again. A little lower, keep breathing. And a little lift. And last time, sink slightly deeper, weight into the heel, take that tiny little lift, and then with control, place left foot underneath your left hip. Inhale, breath, and let it go. Forward folds. Inhale for your half lift. Step your left toes back and lower your knee to the ground. A nice big sweep up and open to crescent lunge. Child's pose. Take your hips back and find the ground. Now looking forwards, slithering out onto your belly. Again, fingertips tent wide Inhale for that fingertip cobra. And exhale, belly and ribs and chest melt down. And take that one more time, like you're kind of slinking your way up off of the ground. And then melting your front body back down to the ground. Hands placed down by your low ribs. Tuck your toes. Now again, pressing up from the ground to supported plank or to high plank. So find a nice little lift of belly button up towards your spine. Lift the fronts of your shoulders up off of the ground. Elbows point up to the ceiling like grasshopper legs. Inhale, breath. And without kind of doing a wormy movement here, try to press up in one flat line all the way up to that plank pose and downward facing dog. Again, walk our hands back to our feet. Bend your knees deeply. Roll up through your spine. Inhale, arms sweep high. And now exhale, sit back to chair pose, hands in prayer, and then we're going to cross right ankle over left thigh. Standing hip stretch or standing pigeon. And we're going to flow back and forth from side to side. So inhale, breath. And then exhale, right foot to the ground, chair pose. And then inhale, breath, cross left ankle over top of right thigh. And exhale, chair pose. We'll do that again. Back and forth. Right ankle over left thigh. Sink in, down to the hips. Chair pose. Left ankle over right thigh. Breathing deep. And chair pose. Right ankle over left thigh. This time pause. Take a deep inhale, breath. And a big exhale. Here we go. We're going to uncross right ankle from left thigh. Reach fingertips towards the ground and slide your right leg up and back into our standing L shape. And here I am at the wall. I could cheat and just use the wall, but I won't. So we're trying to keep that back thigh nice and parallel, toes pointing down towards the ground. And this is an active stretch where we're having to really use our muscles in order to lengthen into this standing split pose. So press up with that back heel, your right heel towards the ceiling. Keep breathing. With your next inhale, let's take a little peek forwards and then walk your hands forwards into a three-legged dog. That right leg is still nice and high. Take a breath in and step right foot forwards between your hands on your breath out. Rising to high lunge. So nice and steady through your feet. Grounded like you've got roots coming out of the soles of your feet. Once you're in your high lunge, interlace your fingers in front of your chest. We're going to breathe in. And then with your exhale, like you're scooping and hollowing out the front of your body, press the heels of your hands forwards. Inhale, hug your arm bones up and back in line with your ears, maybe even slightly back behind your ears. And then exhale again, hollow out your front body, round your upper spine. Again, breathing in, arm bones hug back behind your ears. Last time, exhale, press hands forwards. Now breathing in, arm bones up in line with your ears. We're going to shift into warrior three. So maybe sweep your arms back by your sides, crown of the head forwards, left leg, back leg floats. And this is just a transition. So we'll start to bend our knees and gather ourselves slowly, mindfully up to stand. Hug that left knee in towards your chest. Now option one, right hand onto your right hip. Keep holding onto that left knee. Option two, if you'd like to, you can yogi toe lock with your peace fingers around your left big toe and maybe work to extend that that left leg forwards. But remember, the leg does not have to stretch all the way. More important that you maintain that nice, tall, steady structure of your upper body, standing strong over your bottom leg, That's more important than having that left leg extended. Now breathing, finding that sense of connection to the ground here, even though you just have one foot on the ground. And then we'll take our right arm, float it up towards the ceiling, nice and easy. And then float our left arm up towards the ceiling, whether you've got that knee bent or the legs straight. Try to stick with it for a breath in. And then exhale, slowly float left foot to the ground. Step your feet nice and wide. Toes turn slightly out, heels turn slightly in. And let's gather down to yogi squat. Should feel good after all of that standing and balancing. So from here, if you want to just stay in the center, no problem. Stick with that. If you'd like to add on, snuggle your right arm down the inside of your right thigh and tent your right hand out towards the right side. Left hand to inner left thigh, and then hug your left shoulder back, spinning your chest slightly open towards the left. Big, easy breath. Deep, deep inhale. And deep exhale. Let's come back through center. Lengthen your legs, parallel your feet, halfway lift, and then step that left foot back. Keeping your fingertips tented on either side of your front foot, we'll lengthen our front leg as best as we can, keeping our hips and thighs nice and square. So we're in our sort of pyramid pose, modified pyramid pose. Option here is to flex those right toes up towards the ceiling. That's going to increase the length and the stretch in the back of your right leg. Letting your head just bow down, drop down, steadying yourself into a couple of deep breaths. You can also crawl your fingertips a little bit further forwards if you want to sort of elongate that shape there. Last round of breath. Good. Now let's rebend our right knee. Lower your back knee, that's your left knee, to the ground. Sweep your right foot all the way back behind you, so you're on your hands and your left shin. Now here I'm going to turn my left foot out towards the left side and open right arm up towards the ceiling. So my weight is on my left hand and my left shin, right arm is extending skywards. So we can pause here in this stargazer shape, hugging your right shoulder back and letting yourself kind of lean and open up into that back space. If you would like to add on the thigh stretch, lift up your left. No, that's your right leg. Pardon my confusion of left and right. Lift up your right leg and then reach back for your right ankle with your right hand. And then from there, you can kick your right heel away from your right hip, getting into a little bit of a thigh stretch, a little bit of a back bend. Letting your right shoulder softly hug back. Last round of breath. Stay steady. And then without snapping out of it, gently release. Right leg, right arm long. Come on back through center. And give yourself either a child's pose or a round or two of cat and cow. Kind of rinsing it out through the center line before we move to the other side. Now as you're ready, let's tuck our toes. Walk back one more time to the back of our mat. Forward fold, bend your knees deeply and roll yourself up to stand. Slow and steady. Breathe in, sweeping arms wide and high. And exhale, chair pose. Sit back and down into the hips. Now we're going to pick up the left ankle, cross it over our right thigh, hands to prayer, and sit down to that standing hip stretch. Flowing back and forth. Breathe in, chair pose, breathe out. Stay close to the ground. Inhale, right ankle over left thigh. And exhale, chair pose. Keep moving back and forth with breath. Left ankle crosses right thigh. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale, steady your feet into the ground. Chair pose. And again, right ankle over left thigh. Inhale. Step into the ground, chair pose, exhale. And last one, left ankle over right thigh. Pause. And take a big, soft, sinking breath out to really settle in. Rising up, parallel that left thigh. We're going to take our time to slowly reach fingertips down to the ground. Left leg up in back. Standing L shape or standing split. Left toes pointing directly down towards the ground. Now press up to the ceiling through that left heel. Breathe. Steady breaths. And this is again an active stretch. You're having to really use some muscular effort to stay and open into this standing stretch, this standing split. Let's take our next breath in to peek forwards and then walk your hands into three-legged downward facing dog. Pause there, inhale. And step left foot forwards between hands on your exhale. Steady your feet. Grow some roots. Rise up when you're ready. High lunge. Fingers interlace in front of your chest. Big inhale, exhale. Hollow out your front body. Hands press forwards as you round that upper spine. Inhale, hug arm bones up by your ears. Again, maybe even try to hug your arm bones, your biceps slightly back behind your ears. And then exhale, same thing, like you're carving out the front of your body, rounding that upper spine. Breathing in, hug the arms back. And last time, just like that, exhale, hollow out, carve out. Inhale, hug arm bones back. And now release your arms back by your sides to sweep or step. Shift into warrior three. Again, this is just a transition. Soften your knees. Start to gather up to stand. Keep your focus. Keep your breath. Squeeze that right knee in towards your chest. And standing, balancing poses can be quite challenging for a lot of us. So just be patient. Do your best. Keep returning. If you fall out of it, if you come out of it, no big deal. So options here again. Left hand to left hip and just keep holding on to that right knee. Or yogi toe lock, peace fingers to big toe. Maybe working to extend the leg. Remember, doesn't matter if the leg is straight and everything else is collapsed. More important that we have that steady foundation and structure of crown of your head down to the sole of your left foot, your standing foot. Breathing. Feel your connection to the ground, even here when you've only got one point of contact. Now we'll float the left arm high. Right arm follows along. Keep your right leg where it is, either straight or knee bent. One more breath in, and now slowly, slowly, slowly float that right foot down to the ground. Both feet to the floor, feels good. Toes out, heels slightly in, and take your time to sink down into yogi squat. Last time. Stay here if you'd like, or we'll take it into that variation. Left arm snuggles to inside of your left thigh, and then left fingertips out towards that left diagonal. Right hand to your inner right thigh. You're just kind of using that hand to help guide your right thigh open. Hug your right shoulder back. It's a little bit of a spin, a little bit of a compass of the center of your chest up and open to that right side. Make sure you pause and settle in for a deep breath to really arrive wherever you are, and then you can release back through center. Parallel your feet and extend your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Now we'll step our right foot back. Fingers tented to either side of your front foot, and then lengthen your front leg as best as you can. So it does not have to straighten all the way. If your hamstring is not willing to go that far, you don't have to force it. So just lengthen your front leg as best as you can. And then really try to kind of hug your inner thighs towards each other. So square off your hips, your pelvis, and your thighs. And then let your head just hang forwards.
And we're breathing here, a couple breaths in this pyramid shape. Again, if you want to flex those left toes up towards the ceiling, that will increase the stretch a little bit. Or if you want to crawl your hands a little bit further forwards. Make sure your breathing is still really steady and even, filling up and emptying out. And then as you're ready, let's rebend the left knee, soften back knee to the ground, and then send your left leg straight back so you're on your hands and your right shin. Right foot turns out towards the right side, right hand underneath right shoulder, left arm stretches skywards, hanging here if you want, stargazer, hugging shoulders back, just kind of breathing, leaning into that back space. Again, option for the thigh stretch, you can lift up that left leg, grab a hold of the left ankle with your left hand, and then take a little kick of left heel away from your left hip, left butt cheek. Nice deep steady breath. So as you kick that foot back away from your hip, your left shoulder can kind of hug back. So not only are you opening the front of your thigh into the front of your hip, but also into that whole front line of your body. Pause and breathe. Again, make sure you have time to really arrive in that shape. And then without snapping or boomeranging out of it, mindfully release. Left leg, left arm, and let's swizzle on through the center. Child's pose. Take a breath. Feel the ground. Let your weight sink into the ground. Let go of your effort. And then rise up. Let's cross ankles. Slide through to your seat. Just come on through to your bum. And we'll place our feet right out in front of us. And you don't have to keep your toes on the ground the whole time here. You can have your toes lifted slightly off the ground, but you want to try and dig your heels into the ground as if you're digging your heels down into the dirt or down into the sand. We're going to take our arms and reach fingertips straight up towards the ceiling. Nice tall spine. Take your inhale breath. And then with your exhale, hollow out your low belly back towards your low spine and lean about halfway back. And I'm not collapsing the chest and keeping my chest nice and broad. I'm just hollowing low belly back towards low spine. Dig the heels into the ground. And then inhale, come on back up. And exhale, lean about halfway back, low belly hollowed. Do that one last time, breathing in. Sitting tall, exhale, take that little tip back. Now we're going to pause here. Make fists with your hands, almost like a volleyball sort of bump position. Heels dig into the ground. Inhale, over to the right. Inhale, over to the left. Exhale, over to the right. Exhale, over to the left. So it sounds like this. So go with your breath. 2 sips of inhale, 2 sips of exhale. Side to side, dig those heels strongly into the ground. Just got about 2 or 3 more rounds. Keep up the breath. And last round. Once you've finished your exhale, come back through center and slowly, slowly, slowly come all the way down onto your back. See if you can make that descent as slow and as controlled as you can. Once you've found the ground, hallelujah. Release that effort. Let's walk our feet in, heels close to our sitting bones. And have your feet, I know you can't see, but just try to feel as best as you can. Your feet really parallel and as wide as the outside edge of your hips. Arms down by your sides, palms flat on the ground. Take your breath in. And then exhale, press with the feet and start to scoop your tailbone off the ground and then the back of your pelvis. And then roll up through the rest of your spine into bridge pose. Pressing up nice and high. Keep the palms of your hands flat on the ground. Now option 1 is just to stay right here. You don't have to do anything else with your legs, but I'm going to offer
Shifting our weight into our left foot, drawing your right knee in towards your chest, and then stamping your right foot up towards the ceiling. Okay, trying to keep your hips nice and even. Keep breathing. Stamp out of both feet, bottom foot and top foot. And then rebend that top knee and mindfully place your right foot to the ground. Now shift your weight a little bit over to your right foot. Draw your left knee in towards your chest and stamp left foot straight up towards the ceiling. Steady your breathing. Even though this is a lot of work, keep the breath. Hips are even. Press with your bottom foot into the ground to lift your hips up a little bit higher. Stamp with your top foot like you could actually stand on the ceiling. Another breath. And then rebend that left knee. Mindfully place your left foot to the ground. Once you're back through center, one more inhale. And then slowly roll down through your spine, all the way back down till your pelvis finds the mat. Let your knees drape in towards each other and just take a breath in a nice neutral spine. Take a breath to let that settle. Good. Now we're coming into one more bridge pose. So let's set up our feet about as wide as the outside edges of our hips. Arms down by our sides. Breathe in. Breathe out. Scoop up through the tailbone first. And through your pelvis, then slowly up through your spine. Rising up into bridge pose. Now this time your offering is to interlace the hands underneath you and take that snuggle or that little shimmy of your shoulders and your arm bones underneath your chest. So we're coming a little bit more into this nice deep back bend. And I've got a kitty trying to get in here. Kitty on the outside of the cabin here. So take some deep, deep breaths. Puff up through your chest. Press with your feet into the ground. And then when you're ready, release your hands and slowly roll back down. Good. This time, let's bring the soles of the feet together. Let your knees butterfly open to the sides and just let it go. Good. As you're ready, let's hug our knees in towards our chest. If you want to rock and roll up and down through your spine, you can. Or just roll to one side and then come on up to your seat. Okay. Last thing we're going to do here is a nice stretch for the hips. So we'll take our left shin underneath. Left shin is parallel to the top of the mat and your foot is a little bit flexed, again, to stabilize the knee joint. And then we'll take our right ankle in front of our left knee. So this is for most of you what you're going to do, this sort of square shape, ankles and knees in the same lineup. Some of you may want to take the actual cross of your ankle over top of your knee. Hands are going to press into the balls of your feet, the metatarsals of your feet. And we're going to take a little bit of an active release. So what we're doing here is on our inhale, you're going to press your hands into your feet and press your feet into your hands as strongly as you can. And then on your exhale, you're going to let that go and just sink into the stretch. We'll do it 3 times. So here we go. Inhale, hands press into feet, feet press into hands. Press, 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 press as hard as you can. And then exhale, let it go, sink into the stretch. We'll do that 2 more times. Breathe in, press, 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 hands and feet together. And exhale, release. And last time, pressing, 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 hands and feet together. And exhale. Now let it go and just walk your hands slightly forwards and pause for one more round of breath in that nice sinking, releasing sensation into the stretch. Let go of all of that effort, the press, the sink into the release. Slowly come on back up. Soles of your feet to the ground, hip width apart, hands behind you, fingertips pointing towards your hips. hug your shoulders back, and you can stay right here with your hips, your bum on the ground, or you can press up into tabletop pose, altar pose, pressing your hip points straight up towards the ceiling. Big, big breath in, and then lower your seat to the ground again on your exhale, and we're going to switch sides. So right shin is parallel to the top of the mat, and left shin is going to stack just in front. Again, ankles and knees are lined up. Some of you may want to stack left ankle over top of your right knee. Hands into the metatarsals, the balls of your feet. 3 rounds of that active release. When you're ready, inhale, press hands and feet as strongly as you can into each other. And exhale, let it go and sink. 2 more times. Inhale, press. Exhale, release. This is your last one. Go for the press. Breathe in, hands and feet as much as you can. Go, 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 go. And then let it go. Now pausing, you can release your hands from your feet. Pausing and taking another round or 2 of breath in that sink, the let go, the release. Melting into your hips, into all of the muscles surrounding your hips. And then roll yourself back up. And last time into our tabletop pose, altar pose, fingertips pointing in towards your hips. Either hips, bum stay on the ground, just hug your shoulders back to find that puff of the chest, or take that press of the hips nice and high. 1 full breath in. Hips lower down with your exhale. Good. Now from here, we're going to take our legs, release them out long. And just lower yourself nice and quietly down onto your back. Spread yourself out onto the ground as wide as you would like to. Take up as much space, take up as much room as you want, as feels good. Close your eyes. And we're sinking into our resting pose, into Shavasana. Feel all of the points of contact that you have with the ground and allow yourself to sink and soften into those points of contact. Feel the floor, the ground, the earth supporting you. Let your breathing slow down, your heart rate slow down. Let anything in your life, anything in your mind, your heart, anything that's on your plate, on your to-do list, let it slide away from you, slide off of your body, and it's just for a moment. You can pick it all up again when you're done, but just for this moment, sink into the ground. Let yourself be quiet, let yourself rest, let yourself be still, feeling the dirt, the earth, the rocks underneath you, steady and strong. And breathe some of that steadiness, some of that earthiness, that calm, grounded energy. Breathe that into your bones, into your muscles. And when you're ready, we'll take one final deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly move your fingers and move your toes. And come back to some movement in a really mindful and quiet way. And then curl on over onto one side or the other. Use your hands to press into the ground, to bring you all the way up to your seat. Place the palms of your hands together, center of your chest. One more breath to seal in, to honor your effort, your practice. And thank you for tuning in, for practicing. Namaste.